The ocean. A mind-numbingly vast, beautiful, and terrifying place. What could possibly be worse than those murky depths? Oh, of course, an alien ocean. Why didn't I think of that? Not only are things bad here, they're also wet. The scary things are giant, slithery, and deep down in the trenches of who knows what. And if I and the rest of this planet have any hope of surviving to see another alien sunrise, I'll have to man up and dive in headfirst to depths reserved only for nightmares. How did I end up here, you ask? Well, actually. So, literally everything I know is that we're gonna be underwater. But I'm gonna, what?
Launch in 3, 2, 1.
I have to assume we're on an escape pod on a spaceship. Oh, I have to assume we're on a space pod in an escape ship. Oh! Ooh, it's time to get up. Put it out! Stop!
You have suffered minor head trauma.
Yeah, thanks. I was noticing that. Okay. Okay. Yeah, so that's how I got here. But now I need to know how to get out of this situation. So I scoured my tiny pod, hoping dearly to be able to fix something before having to get out of the pod. Alas, other than that tablet lady, all I had was a fire extinguisher, flares, water, and nutrient block. Oh, God. That sounds tasty. The fancy tablet lady was apparently called a PDA, and she had a log, a database, and a whole lot of blueprints with interesting crafting requirements. These would apparently be crafted at this thing called a fabricator, which looked to be our crafting station for the foreseeable future. The PDA gave us some ideas of how to proceed, like surveying the environment. So I went outside. Oh, wait, don't open it! You just saw some weird stuff! This is a nightmare. This is a nightmare. Go back in the pod. No. Did I mention that I'm afraid of the ocean? What better to do after that entrance than jump right in? I scored my first achievement for getting my feet wet, along with the rest of me, and found myself swimming in the shallows of an alien ocean. Let me show you about how that whole getting my feet wet thing went. Oxygen 24, 21. Oh my God, that's going down quick. Oh, that's because I do not have, okay, I thought that was, okay, I don't have no tank. What is there to do besides be stupid and swim up to, okay, back to the pod. Oh! Is this a printer? It's cargo. Can I have the oh, well, there ain't no cargo in there no more. That's all gone. Break limestone outcrop. Ooh.
Copper is an essential component of all powered equipment. Your probability of survival has just increased to unlikely, but plausible.
Unlikely, but plausible. What was it before? And suddenly it was now night. Awesome. This limestone gave titanium, and I learned something very important.
Oxygen.
Okay, right, good call on that. Yes. Right, okay, better not mess that up later. Tablet lady said I needed calorie intake, so I picked up this guy named Gary and I cooked him with a laser. Crunchy. And just as I thought I might be getting somewhere,
Detecting increased local radiation levels.
with that extremely foreboding notification, the sun rose on day 2 of our impromptu alien ocean vacay, and it was time to get to work. If this pod was going to get more and more radioactive, we needed to leave. I started finding random things, but I couldn't yet do anything with most of what I found. I could at least laser cook fish. I found some hot spots, saw some ominous clouds in the distance, and found the first source of nightmares. Okay. No, please be an inanimate, it's moving. Oh no. I kept my distance like a brave boy and swam towards the big wreckage to see if I could get more intel or resources. I found more things I couldn't use. Grav, trap, frag, ooh look, coffee. And one of these. Can't be making, what's a fucking do? Wow, shit! Woo, woo, woo. Oh, it's a disadvantageous situation. Then I realized after being dumb that I was also being dumb. Never mind. All right, we're not doing this. That's what you meant. I thought you meant the pod was dropping radiation. I might be an idiot. So we need to get away from the giant ship. That makes more sense. I started looking for more limestone outcrops and found copper, titanium, this metal salvage, and some more fish. Food from fish was stable, but I was still wondering about water. Then I found this guy, who could apparently be used to make non-vegetarian water. Okay, metal salvage could be recycled into 4 titanium, which allowed me to make this tank for longer underwater time. The tablet lady decided this would be a good time to tell us how to make a better one. How very corporate of you to do that, tablet lady. After taking the tank for a spin and jamming out to the killer soundtrack, I found my first silver, salt, and stalker tooth. Let's leave. Huh. Okay, seems safe. I gathered at the new loot while enjoying my carnivore water. The copper and silver could be used for electronic components, so that was something. Then I dove into the water with my electronic components. Come here, buddy. I think that thing was called a peeper. I think I can figure out why. What's this? That looks very useful. We're not gonna pick that up? Oh, maybe it's not that useful. Okay. So as you can see, I was really doing great. Good thing I'm not in a rush for any impending explosions or anything like that.
Portion. Continued degradation of the Aurora's drive core may result in a quantum detonation. Continuing to monitor.
I decided this was a good time to sit still and read my database. I learned about eggs I couldn't hatch, and this fancy tool I couldn't make. Then I did this. Oh, oxygen. Oh, oxygen. Oh. Still not sure how I survived that. Now feels like a good time to mention a few things. First, I'm intentionally playing this game entirely blind. Not only did I not know anything about the game before, I'm not allowed to look anything up either. Any information I get either comes from the game or occasionally from chat if I get really, really stuck. I stream this over on Twitch where the antics happen live, and it's where I'll be streaming the sequel, Subnautica Below Zero. And finally, my moderators cooked up a little extra spice, where chat could cause the
oxygen
alert to play regardless of whether I actually needed oxygen. Some people used that to help me, but most used it to, well, you'll see. Anyways, the food spoils in this game, and the peepers are better food because they have protein-rich eyeballs, apparently. I started smacking more outcrops, getting more metallic resources, and I also got these acid mushrooms and quartz. My inventory filled surprisingly fast, so I went home to try lasering more random things like glass out of quartz. With that glass, we nabbed the high-capacity tank, giving us even more underwater time. I started really noticing how much crafting there was in this game around this time, but I didn't know how to make most of the things. The only storage I could figure out how to make was this thing, which I could only use outside. Then the tablet lady said the ship was gonna blow up in 2 hours. Great. Around this time, I realized the blueprint database was 80% corrupted, and that I needed to survey pieces of the ship that was about to blow up to get that uncorrupted. I decided that wasn't gonna happen, so I grabbed and crafted everything I could and started making plans to get away from the ship. I made a few new things to compress my inventory into crafted items, like this scanner.
The scanner can be used to synthesize blueprints from salvage technology and to record alien biological data.
Nice. I also got this flashlight and saw a whole lot of tools I definitely needed. So I grabbed these glowing berries to make into rubber. Yeah, inventory's full. Okay, oh god, those are big. Those take up a little bit of room. So I took the big berries to make into rubber. I made a knife.
Weapons were removed from standard survival blueprints following the massacre on Abraxas Prime. The knife remains the only exception.
At least it can cut plants, which we can apparently scan. Oh, scan self. Okay.
Self-scan complete. Vital signs normal.
Good, 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 good. Then I noticed, oh, I got seeds? Man, I thought I was getting a resource. I feel like it's kind of a, can I just wee? Can I just wee?
Emergency. The reactor will reach a supercritical state in T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, For your convenience, the radiation suit has been new blueprint deactivated.
Okay, we gotta make a red suit. You had that this whole time, ma'am, and you're only giving it to me now? How very corporate of you, tablet lady. How do I drop these seeds? Yeah, that's still an issue. That rad suit needed lead and fiber mesh, so I went looking for him with my fancy new flashlight. I'm taking this knife out. I don't trust that thing at all, but get stabbed! Get stabbed! I don't think I'm winning. Ah! Yeah, I felt passionate about that one. I nabbed some creepvine to make fiber mesh out of though, so now I just needed that lead. I found this weird green spotted stalker, which looked oddly diseased. Chat bestowed its first hint upon me. I could drop the seeds only in the water. That saved me having 0 storage space. I found this weird cave where...
Followed by eventual asphyxiation.
Okay, alright, well, we better go now. We have plenty of oxygen. You? I went back in the cave. Oh! No. So you can see that was going well. Did I mention I'm afraid of the ocean? Lubricant.
lubricant is essential in construction of vehicles and power plants.
I'll say it is. My inventory was growing and my storage wasn't. So I started using this thing again and found some table coral, which would apparently help with computers, of course. I went on a scanning spree, scanning just about everything I could find. And on day 6, I started reading the absolute library of information in this lady, tablet. Nice. Back to the caves I bravely went. Opened up. But then I found gold and lead. Okay, actual oxygen.
30 seconds.
Yep. Get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here! Did I mention I'm afraid of the ocean? With the spoils, I was able to make the radiation suit. I also managed to make a computer chip out of that coral, and a few batteries for later. But I really wanted to make these things, so I pinned them to be able to see their recipes, and ventured over to that big ship that exploded for more answers. I arrived at sunset, floundering about for some kind of information. Why is this so foggy over there? Why is it so foggy over there? Questions. More questions. I did scan this Cyclops bridge fragment, which was apparently part of a giant submarine. This is when I noticed that vehicles existed, which was honestly terrifying, because that meant we need them. As the sun rose, I started finding these supply crates and a whole nother section of wreckage, and got a few more spicy scans. I noticed these weird large deposits that would need some tool to harvest, before stumbling into this cave with my overflowing inventory. I headed home with no trouble, cooked some food, and made this ingot, which did nothing. Then I went looking for that cave, finding these interesting jellyfish that hold up sunken stuff. Then in the cave, I found this brain coral which makes bubbles and some silver. But alas, the thing I was hunting, cave sulfur, eluded me. Sulfur? Thought she was gonna give me some sulfur. Cave sulfur was an item I needed to find to make this repair tool, and I figured I'd find it in a cave. Back at the pod, I made this wiring kit, and finally, we made the habitat builder.
The builder tool is designed to construct habitats capable of withstanding extreme environmental conditions.
I immediately tried to make wall lockers for storage, but I couldn't put any on the wall. So I headed outside to hopefully build something, but alas, I squirreled off that task like the goober I am, and went looking for cave sulfur in this lovely place. I thought maybe geothermal heat might indicate sulfur. Hopefully I don't. Intuition suggests I should be careful. Ow, ow, see? So I couldn't go all the way down. Alas, sulfur eludes me once again. Sulfur, please. Can you spare some sulfur? A little bit of sulfur for me, please. I decided to send it and found myself back here. I don't see anything that would indicate sulfur. I don't see anything that would indicate so I went back out. A little bit crispier than before. I did get some lead though, and so the building began. But reinforcement? I'm just looking for a wall. Hey, we got walls? Tubular compartments? That's great, no? You got some walls though? This cannot be how this is intended to work. It can't just be tubes. I was a little confused. I don't even know how to make a wall. So I didn't build anything. All right, well, I made an advanced wiring kit. I don't know how that helps. Decomposing food. Yum. Yum. I just messed up. I just made a mistake. As you can see, I'm a genius. By night, I scrambled up more food and decided not to cook it all, so it didn't start decomposing on me. I finally decided to live like a hamster on day 9 and started building tubes. I made a tube and I can't even get in the tube. I don't even understand. One long, gooby minute later, I made a hatch and got my second achievement for making a habitat. Nice.
Warning, emergency power only. Oxygen production offline.
So no air, but I can stand. And build lockers. I started the big move into the tube, making more lockers and— Oxygen, get the f out of that. Get out of it, get out of it, get out of the menu. I took the time to add a solar panel so that didn't happen again.
Power restored. All primary systems online.
I got to work expanding the base, but I was stumbling a bit with the mechanics of it still. Specifically, I couldn't figure out how to turn stuff. I went looking for more building materials and ran into a few of these friends. All the while wondering where I'd find sulfur. Then this happened. Have you scanned the explodey fish? That's not a bad idea. Yeah, let me scan that shit. Hey. Oh! Okay, alright. Day 10 cave sulfur. That's gotta be a record. I moved the hatch on my base, finding out you get all the resources back when you deconstruct, which was a pleasant surprise. Then I smacked down a new fabricator for fabricating, in which I fabbed up our new fancy repair tool. I started repairing stuff like the radio.
Rescue operation will be dispatched to your location in 9 hours. Continue to...
These are cool animations, I must say.
Life pod secondary systems online.
That gave us a useful scan about where we are. Safety warnings may support Leviathan-class predators. No, why did you guys tell me to play an ocean game? I tried to mask my fear with base building, adding a new solar panel, and this glass compartment. Before finishing up, this happened. Right here. Yes! What? To the radio!
Plan pre-recorded distress call.
This is LifePod 6. I have a passenger on board. Coordinates attached.
Signal coordinates corrupted.
We had a few clues about where this LifePod 6 might be. That is interesting. I like this game. I quickly polished off the new base, complete with a new ceiling hatch. Then I got to thinking. The clues had mentioned LifePod 4, and ours had a big 5 on the outside. So there very well could be a lot of LifePods to find. I gathered food and water for the journey, and just as I went to leave, I got another radio message. This one was from LifePod 3, and it gave us the exact location. Change of plans. LifePod 3 is looking a little rough. It had a blueprint in it for this compass I made back home, giving us cardinal directions on the HUD forevermore. With that, I decided to head southeast and look for LifePod 6. I found this mobile vehicle bay fragment along the way, which was apparently one of 3. I also nabbed this Sea Glide fragment, giving us the blueprint. The log from LifePod 4 had talked about that thing helping us move faster, and it was time to test that. And like magic, we had this thing, equipped with its own map and light. Now that we were officially zooming, I quickly found some red grass and this sea moth fragment. I also found a couple of nasties. Okay. Well, hold on. And I found a few new scannables. Down here at 100 meters though, we lose oxygen faster, which only aided my growing fears. I found LifePod 6, also in shambles, with a couple logs, a blueprint, and some loot. I'd gotten another radio transmission while I was out, and I received coordinates for another LifePod from this perturbed man.
Now we're hanging on the edge of a cave system, and this grim-looking snake thing's trying to eat through the hull.
Troubling. But this was LifePod 17. Okay, there might be quite a few of these things. This radio message also came through.
This is Avery Quinn of Trading Ship Sunbeam. Aurora, do you read? Over. Do you still need our assistance? Over. I'll try them again tomorrow.
If only I could respond. Let's hope they keep trying, shall we? I headed off to LifePod 17 and found the final piece to learn the Seamoth blueprint along the way. But there were other troubles. More on that later. There was a lot of debris and a log near 17, but that wasn't the worst of it. There was a cave, and it was scary. Eels. I hate it.
The conditions in this cave support a microcosm of unique, possibly predatory life forms. Detecting an artificial structure somewhere in the region.
Artificial structure? Down here? Good thing this isn't terrifying. I swapped in a new battery and dove in, looking for artificialness. It took a few tries due to predators and oxygen troubles, but I found this thing. There it is, that's what matters.
Signal oxygen uploaded to PDA. Integrating new PDA data.
I ran home in fear after all that madness to hear a radio message that was somewhat inspiring.
Aurora, this is Sunbeam again. I didn't know how many of you... I didn't know. We're now en route to your location. We're gonna bring you home.
Oh, good. I'm sure that's gonna work with zero problems. That artificial structure had come with some info about a habitat site in the same region, related somehow to something called Degassi. Questions. More questions. I started gathering the resources to make that sea moth because a vehicle sounded like a great idea. I got a whole lot of mushrooms for batteries now and later. I chased the stalker with my knife like a psycho, and I scanned this reefback leviathan, opening up the Leviathans section in the database. That's terrifying. I got berries for lube, did a little reorganization, and went looking for that quartz. Then I found the motherload of these. Ooh, nuh-uh, nope, nuh-uh. No! Stop! No! That one blew up. Dead. Nuh-uh! I hit it like 4 times! What? There wasn't another one. I raged a little at that one, I won't lie. But if we're being honest, I probably shouldn't have tried to stab like 5 bombs. Them's is kinda goobery activities. I was able to retrieve the items I dropped on death, and got a whole lot of that sweet, sweet cave sulfur in exchange for the embarrassment. I ran into that issue I mentioned earlier. I'd gathered all the materials for this fancy new Seamoth vehicle, including making this new, bigger battery called a power cell, but I couldn't make the Seamoth, because I didn't have the blueprint for the crafting station needed to make vehicles, the mobile couple vehicle bay. I decided it was time to end the stream and zen out. Next stream, I added a heart rate monitor just to show how constantly on edge I am in this game. Enjoy the consistently unhealthily high numbers. No. We will wait for the day.
Welcome aboard, Captain.
And it had been 5 days since I'd last played, so I was terrified all over again. Oh god, why did I make windows? Why did I think that was a good idea? I decided to store the material for the Seamoth in here for now, and headed off to whatever this Degasi habitat is. I found this thing, but it was 260 meters deep, so oxygen was a real problem. I bounced up and down for oxygen, scanning things and looking for an entrance. Then I found the entrance, but... Machine sounds great, hurry up. Okay, we're leaving. You didn't do it fast enough.
30 seconds.
Yep, I know. I see that. Yep, I'm on it. Yep. Yeah. Yep. I decided home was the best place to go after that. I was out of water already, probably because I'd peed it all into my pants. I noticed some key things in my recent scanning sprees. First was this beacon, which was a way to craft a ping on our HUD. And second, these bladderfish weren't just for water. They could also provide oxygen in a pinch when eaten raw. So I filled my inventory with the pink boys and got to work. As fast as I could, I grabbed crucial scan upgrades and kept my oxygen up with bladders the whole time. I ran home with my new findings, curious specifically about this ultra high capacity tank modification station. We don't even have the thing. Once again, I did not have the ability to craft the crafting station to craft the thing I wanted to craft. I'd adjusted what lore we'd uncovered, but this recording was the most important.
If rescue arrives, whatever shot us down, it's gonna do it again and again until it's shut off.
The plot thickens. We've been shot down, and the answers were deeper than 200 meters. I did make 2 blueprints we'd uncovered. The rebreather, for better oxygen efficiency in the depths, and this multi-purpose room, for multiple purposes. I got a radio message about the Sunbeam ship intent on parking to bring us home. Trouble is, I had a sinking feeling they might get shot down before they even got close, and I had no way to tell them not to. Yikes. I dropped down another multi-purpose room and caused a big problem. Yo, it's got water in it now. Pardon me? What in tarnation is happening right now? Damage due to weak hold strength. Build reinforcements to remove the weak parts. Yeah, that description was behind my head. But I removed the room, hopped back into the base, and figured out I had to repair these punctures with the repair tool.
Hull integrity restored. Draining systems initiated.
I decided to refrain from more building until I could make these reinforcements, which was one of 2 reasons I needed to find lithium. I also decided to retire the flashlight since the Seaglide had its own light. Day 18 was the day to investigate the weird mists in the distance, but I found this patch of wreckage along the way. I actually had the capacity to go inside the wreckage, which was disturbing. I got a couple seemingly important scans in and around this hunk of junk, and then it was back to the mist. Land ho? Oh my god, it's land! Then the tablet lady said there was an unknown massive energy signature nearby. Bulbo tree! Cave crawler! Ooh, this isn't a cave. Oh, but that is. Ooh, don't make me do it. I dropped some fish on land, which swam away. Okay, so I could eat this tree, which was delightfully watery. And soon, did I say that? Lithium! Lithium. Lithium. I'd found it. And I let more fish swim away in the air so I could grab more. I realized at this point I could actually scan these outcrops, and I learned that I might find diamonds in shale outcrops. Diamond! Oh my god, really?
Remember that materials you gather are the property of the All Terra Corporation. You will be liable to reimburse the full market price. Your current bill stands at 3 million credits.
I decided to run home with the new bounty I'd have to pay for later, and with the new lithium, I slapped down a bunch of reinforcements. Then the radio had something to say.
9 new biological subjects designated.
Well, that's pretty normal. I don't think there's really anything to worry about there. Now back at the island, I plunged into the caves only to find a watery section. Got anything fancy for me? Like some lithium, perhaps? And then I found something strange. Huh? Gotta go! Purple tablet. Ancient alien tablet with a purple symbol. The plot thickens. I had the idea to drop it so I could scan it, and the database populated with an entry that essentially said, I don't know what this is, but it's alien. It's old, and I can clone it for you if you get these things. I farmed up some more lithium, gold, and diamonds before heading outside to check the beaches. Nice. Alright, let's keep going. Whoa! And suddenly this game had hit the gas pedal. First, I scanned myself and found out I had an abnormally high amount of bacteria, but no symptoms. Then I made a hypothesis, strangely polygonal, but not a normal structure, that might have the capacity to shoot ships out of the sky. And then I found more purple tablets. Hey, if I maybe put one of these... Yeah, exactly, that's what I was gonna say. What if I just... After one last panic snack, I re-listened to the very normal radio message we'd gotten earlier.
Hunting. Analyzing.
Hey girl, you up? Happy birthday, Grandma. Yep, sound pretty normal to me. And now we were in this place. Please don't kill me. Don't be like a scanning machine. Hello there, what's all that business?
Unknown language. Attempting translation.
Any luck? No, actually. That was the sound of it failing, according to the database. Ooh, that might be an ion cube. Which Indiana Jones was it where the thing, and then the... We just holding that, huh? Okay, cool. That's definitely not radioactive in any... The game scared me by unloading the textures for a second on the way into this room which had more ion cubes. Each cube contains the equivalent energy of 5 kilotons of TNT. That's a lot of boom. I got more data, this time successfully translated well enough to understand this thing is called the enforcement platform, and that we were in the upper section of it. And this looks like the way down. Okay, well I'm not getting on that. I didn't agree! I guess I am using it. It led us to this moon pool, which I checked. Okay! Yeah, probably shouldn't have done that. The next room had strange vat-like cases with helpful-looking objects in them, but there was no way to open the cases. Is this a grenade? This device contains enough potential energy to destroy the entire planet along with most of the solar system. Well, I was close. There was a room with this alien arch in it, but scans couldn't tell what it was. At the far end of the mysterious stuff was another room to unlock, and within it... What's going on there? I'm not going there yet. Despite my attempts to do anything other than approach that thing, well, perhaps we start by scanning it before we touch it! Yeah, okay. Alright, okay, yeah. This device houses energy equivalent to an extremely large nuclear detonation, which can be channeled through the facility and directed at vessels overhead or bent around the planet's gravitational pull to strike targets in orbit. Interesting. Please don't shoot the ship down. This is dumb. Maybe don't. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. This is my bed. I was just... Okay. I did not feel very good.
The control panel is broadcasting a message. Translation reads, "Warning, infected individuals may not disable the weapon. This planet is under quarantine."
Uh-huh. Infected individuals, huh? Tablet Lady said that infection was getting worse. So there's a ship coming to save me, and this nuclear boy is about to shoot it down. And I'm too sick to tell it not to. Speaking of good news, Tablet Lady had also determined some other important information. Some other alien locations, like the disease research facility and the thermal power facility, were much deeper. And we probably need to go to them. You can tell I was thrilled. I decided to try the moon pool as an exit, but this thing showed up and chased me back in, only to be destroyed by the gateway? I wasn't sure, but perhaps going back up the freaky elevator was a better choice. I did a fair bit more exploring of the enforcement platform and the island it was on, and ended up finding one last thing by following these weird lights. This time I found an archway that had a place to insert an ion cube. Uh-oh. Close it before it... Oh. We are in a different location. Indeed, we're somewhere else. That's how portals work, me. Oh, we're behind the ship now. We're on the opposite side of the... We had been in the northeast of the map, and we were now deep in the west, from what I could tell. I found some nifty plants like marble melons and Chinese potatoes, along with the exterior grow beds to grow them in. Okay, we got food here, but why is there food here? Honestly, a pretty good question. I ran around with my scanner out, hoping to get some answers. I stumbled across a few different abandoned structures. Some weird things happened in this observatory. Namely, I got an achievement here called Ancient Technologies for hitting a melon, and I learned that there actually is no way to crouch in the game. I can't hit it, it's too low to the ground. There we go. I grabbed all the abandoned PDAs I could find in the area, getting an achievement for seeing the observatory, and finally, there was a purple alien tablet here. This was more than suspicious, considering these PDAs all had to do with the Degassi crew and their crippling inability to get along.
You stopped being in charge when the ship you were captaining sunk. I'll stop being in charge when you take charge of yourself.
Food was plentiful here, and I found this very useful scannable related to the stasis rifle, which could apparently slow time to a crawl temporarily around a target. There was also this second observatory with an interior grow bed I could scan in it. I decided I'd get seeds of the marble melon and Chinese potato to hopefully grow back at base. The many PDAs I'd found had pointed us to a proposed Degassi habitat, but at this point I was starting to get worried, as I thought I'd already been there. More concerning still, it sounds like it didn't work out quite like they planned.
We should never have left this place.
So, before the Aurora, another ship called the Degassi crashed here. The 3 surviving crew members survived on this island for a while, then went into the depths, failed to survive there, and the only survivor came back here to die slowly to this infection I now have. Wow, that's inspiring.
Why does it do this? Oh my god, why does the land do that? That's not what islands do.
Remember those jellyfish holding up a rock? This is the big ancient version. This whole island was being held up by these jellies. Back through the portal I went, before heading home to question all my life choices so far.
Aurora, we're approaching the planet now. We have a landing site for you that's, well, it's better than the alternatives.
You should not do
We've
that.
sent you.
And amongst the panic...
Wait. Wait.
What are you?
I don't know. That's also a bad thing.
It sure is a bad thing. Let's make some plants. After quickly beginning agriculture, I started the race against time to save the sunbeam and myself. The trouble was, after preparations, including gathering a bunch of bladderfish, I wasn't sure how to proceed. I played with these floaters, I dove to this marked point, and indeed, it was where we had already been. I checked life pod 17 again because I was out of ideas, but I had indeed already been here. And half my time was gone, and I was not any closer to this ship in any way. I did find this wreckage and found this propulsion cannon fragment and laser cutter fragment nearby. Definitely useful, but again, no answers.
They're gonna get shot down. There's just nothing I can do about that.
Seeing no way to help the poor Sunbeam crew, I chased this lead from a radio message from LifePod 4. It was upside down, broken, but...
Integrating PDA data.
Okay.
Encountered predators in the Leviathan class, highly aggressive, species designator Reaper. One specimen attempted to swallow the life pod. Only viable option is to make for the safety of the Aurora crash site.
This made me wonder if I could actually get on the ship. But then something went tragically wrong. In my attempts to get onto the ship, I started running into weird invisible walls. I can't go up here? Oh, another wall. Come on with these walls, and meandering amongst areas that didn't quite look right. Things started blinking in and out of existence, and I began to worry I had done it again, that I'd broken a game. I mean, what? This never happens to me at all. What are you talking about? I was well and truly stuck. I had wedged myself outside the game's map somehow, and now couldn't get back in the map. Then this happened. Oh, okay. Is this intentional? Oh god. Oh no. Oh, I'm in a level now. I was now, after phasing through several walls, somehow inside the Aurora. I attempted to go backwards in the level, breaking through this locked door, but then the weight of my gamer sins fell upon me all at once.
Picking up unwanted transport approaching planet's surface. Power surge from anomaly.
I don't think I'm...
Discharge detected.
I'm trying to see. I'm really trying to fix it.
We all agreed a reload was in order, so I quit without saving. 33 minutes ago, where were we? And now it's day 24 again. I wasn't sure what we had done and what we hadn't done, but the branching timeline of Subnautica began. I got this entirely new radio message from LifePod 4 and headed off to find this brand new objective.
Whenever I make a video, they'll be like, and then something went tragically wrong.
Yep, that was accurate. I stumbled over to this cool looking ship and found the correct entrance this time. The PDA suggested fire extinguishers and laser cutters. I was checking what I knew about the laser cutters while dodging these things and said this.
Let me explore myself. Please.
Words to live by. I found my way to where I had gotten out of the Aurora before, and I began to try and close these multiversal gaps and see everything I'd seen before in another life. I nearly burnt myself to death here trying to figure out how to navigate these boxes, and despite scanning this propulsion cannon piece, I couldn't figure out any other method than jumping a bunch of times. Somehow I actually did jump over it. I came to a passcode locked door that I'd definitely never seen before. With all the logs I'd picked up on the way to go box jumping, I did find a password. Wow, look at that. I decided to stop here and explore the rest of this later because I really didn't want to miss the sunbeam again. I sig-glided my way over to the landing site only to realize it was the place with the Enforcer platform. I might have done this out of order too. I found a new purple tablet while trying to get a good vantage point for the show. Ooh.
Change course. Set thrusters to full.
Well, that's how that works. I went looking to see if they dropped any useful wreckage, but no, there was nothing left. Wow. Then I almost did an oopsie.
I think I only have one real choice here.
I ran for my life like a smarticle particle all the way to my little pod, where I found a new radio message detailing the location of LifePod 13. Man, there sure are a lot of these. I went back to the Aurora, hoping to find scannable pieces for the laser cutter and propulsion cannon. I got back to where I'd magically teleported to, and was able to use the repair tool to get through this door. I got this depth module for the Seamoth, so now I had upgrades for the Seamoth that I still couldn't make. Then I found this room, which supposedly had the Aurora's drive core in it, which tablet lady told me not to repair. I found this upgrade for the Cyclops module in here, all while having fire fall on me from the roof. The only remaining path required the laser cutter, and I didn't have that yet. I left and started looking around the outside of the Aurora. I found this propulsion cannon fragment, giving us the recipe, and immediately also found this time capsule. More on that later, as I was busy scanning more fragments down here, none of which were related to the laser cutter. In fact, that was now the only thing I had found in the other timeline that I hadn't yet found again. Back at home, I got this radio message.
Can't send a rescue ship all the way out there, so Aurora, you're just gonna have to meet us halfway. Uploaded blueprints to the ship's computer.
Sandwich run, you in?
Yeah, give me a second. Black box data shows the high security terminal in the captain's quarters is still functional.
Becky's leaving like in 5 minutes.
All right, tell Becky I'll just take the regular.
The regular?
Yeah, she'll know what I mean. The code should
And
be...
if she doesn't?
Just tell her the regular, dude.
It's nice to know they care. I read about that time capsule I'd found, along with the info I'd gotten from the carrying radio message. The time capsule came with this strange message and image, but I had no idea what to make of it. According to chat, these were player-made capsules that came from players who beat the game, stocked with a few items to help newer players out, along with a message. My inventory had been full, so I got no items. Oops. I went back to about where I thought I'd found it, but alas, nothing. Double oops. I went looking for the wreckage I'd found the laser cutter in, because, like many blueprints, I had to scan multiple parts to unlock it. For the laser cutter, that number was 3, and without the one I'd found, I was back down to 0. I was very close to closing this multiversal knowledge gap, and then I found this cutter piece, but I wasn't so sure this was the same one I'd found before. Finally, after getting frustrated enough to look somewhere other than this wrong place for an entire day, I found it almost immediately.
Oh, and we need 3 people.
And after all that, we still only had 2 out of 3. But
we are now officially caught up for the multidimensional mishap.
Indeed, the branching timelines have been clipped, I reckon. With that revelation, it was time for real-world sleep. At the start of the next one, I immediately found this mobile vehicle bay fragment right next to me.
How long has this been this close to me?
2 out of 3 for this one now, too. I ventured over to LifePod 13, but I sat here unwilling to go down there for long enough for the sun to rise because I'm super brave.
A little bit less bad. No, don't spawn things in. No, what are all these?
I got this moon pool scan. More logs and info on these things.
Wait, don't touch me though. Don't make that sound.
I noticed these recipes, wondering what they would be for, but it drew my attention to this deep shroom. I continued to lament my predicament.
I can't make these because of the mobile vehicle bay, and I can't make any of these because they don't have the modification station.
I accidentally plucked up the melons instead of making them into seeds.
Oh, I was supposed to stab one of those. No. Put her down. Let me stab that son of a bitch for a seed. Put it back. Oh. Give. Wait, what? Yes, there we go. Now we're talking.
But now I had seeds. All good.
Almost goofed it, but I really? God, I literally almost went through that to get oxygen.
I truly still cannot believe this. The not having the laser cutter yet thing was really getting to me.
We 100% need to get that we need that guy.
Then I found this beautiful thing.
Oh, please tell me that we will be able to make this. Blah, 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 blah.
I grabbed a couple diamonds and
laser cutter. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't make the sound I thought it would make.
I took this bad boy straight to the Aurora to open that door.
We don't have to. Okay, let's give that a second to cool off.
There was logs, loot, and after repairing this door, I found a bay full of these mech-looking things called prawn suits, which I scanned mercilessly. This log confirmed that Degassi was a separate ship that got lost on this planet about a decade ago, and that the Aurora was on a side quest to see if we could find the survivors. Imagine losing your whole ship to a side quest.
Unfortunately, a recent accident in Cargo Bay 3 resulted in the venting into space of all dehydrated desserts.
We'd come across a few passcode locked doors, but we'd been radioed the code for this one. Inside, we snagged this data and blueprint on the Neptune escape rocket. Excellent, an escape plan.
Will not launch if local threats are detected.
But we still have to get uninfected first. We could at least begin construction, though, with this launch platform blueprint. I also saw this lady's photo in multiple lockers.
But I want to change our arrangement.
How would you like to change it?
I would like to reduce our contact hours to 0.
You're dumping me.
I'm changing the terms of our relationship.
Okay, I'd like to change the terms of my relationship with this planet, please. Let's reduce them hours to 0, yeah? I scanned these dudes hanging from the ceiling for the prawn BP before finding a sneaky path to this madness.
Gimme!
Who would have thought that a radioactive crash-decaying ship on an alien planet would be in such bad shape? More lore indicated that only one guy survived more than 8 hours after the crash. So I guess that's me. Non-Essential Systems Maintenance Chief Riley Watson at your service. I found a lab behind another coded door with logs, blueprints, and some non-functional tools which I felt sure I needed, despite them literally saying non-functional. I spent the entirety of day 34 making sure I didn't miss anything in the Aurora. I nabbed a lot of funny lore and a storage module for a ship I still couldn't build, all the while hunting for a mod station that was supposedly in the forward section.
I think the forward section of the ship is missing. I think we entered from where the forward section of the ship would have been.
Indeed. Sadly, no modification station for me. I checked up on these things the lady told me not to repair, and scanning indicated that I actually could repair these things. So I decided, with a little nudge from chat, to go ahead and repair them. During the process, this happened.
Oh, how do I get it off? Oh my god, how do I get it off? Holy sh!
Then it happened again and again until I started hunting them down. Post-extermination, I finished repairing the reactor breaches, and Tablet Lady said the radiation levels were dropping. At first, I was confused how this would help, but by the next day, this achievement popped.
Extinction event avoided.
Well, that's good news. I went home and did this.
This is really...
You can't say I didn't try. I put away the radiation helmet for good, as I suspected the radiation would no longer be an issue. Now that the Aurora adventures were complete, I started hunting for Life Pod 7. But oh man, was it freaky down here.
Just, and they're making noises go back up.
I ended up chickening out and hanging out near the Degassi Crew Island, where I found this voice log.
We were intercepted by a Leviathan-class predator before we could reach the ship.
Yeah, that's reassuring. Let's go diving around that area to find a life pod. That'll be fun. There were glowing balls, and these, which terrified me.
I don't like these spindly boys. Stop spindling around.
Something was also roaring in the distance.
In the brain. God, what? No.
No. Sorry, LifePod 7. Maybe next time.
Prawn suit, mobile vehicle bay. Seamoth, mobile vehicle bay. Neptune launch platform, mobile vehicle bay.
You can tell I was looking for something in particular. And all this time, it was 200 meters away. I finally crafted this bay, and was instantly confused.
Oh, so it's a mobile vehicle bay.
Yes, Watson, that's what it says on the screen. In seriousness, I had thought it was a mobile vehicle bay, in that it was a bay that made mobile vehicles. But all vehicles are mobile, so I'm just dumb. This is a mobile vehicle bay. I made and gathered the ingredients, and did this.
The Seamoth is a fast, safe mode of transport.
Welcome aboard, Captain.
Oh god, why does it sound like that? Oh, this is weird. And if I press...
Oh, we now officially had a Zoomy boy. I grabbed the Seamoth upgrade modules we'd found, and after floundering to figure out how,
access upgrades, boom, it's this thing.
Our depth number at the top had changed from 200 to 300, and we had storage accessible from only the outside. Fair enough. I spent the next day working on the supplies for the Neptune launch platform, and learning I could combine 2 empty batteries to make a full power cell. All I needed now was lead. So I went looking for it, and made some observations.
I think the lead was running into fish counts? It does. So it doesn't lock upwards, it just... Whoa!
With the materials in hand, I went to build the launch pad.
Cannot build here. Must be constructed in deeper water.
About over here. Is this deep enough for your liking?
Nope. Over here by the Aurora was acceptably deeper.
Whoa. Is that gonna crash as soon as you're done? Yes!
The recipe for the gantry called for this plasteel ingot, so the mission was to figure out how to make that now. More radio time.
Automated distress signal from LifePod 12.
As the sun rose, I heard this again. Then I dove into the darkness.
Ooh, I hate it. Okay, this is just so terrible. Yeah. Yeah.
Terrible things aside, we'd found the pod. After bravely kiting the sparky danger noodles a little further away, I grabbed a PDA that provided 0 new information.
The only thing I studied in medical school was how to lie convincingly.
Nice. It did motivate me to check my blueprints to see if I'd missed something, where I realized that we actually do know how to make these ingots. I made the ingot, and got another LifePod spot from the radio. But LifePod 19 was gonna have to wait after that experience.
Construct. Or,
One glowing beacon of blue later, we had a gantry. Now we needed to make the boosters, but we needed 2 things I really hadn't found yet: nickel ore and aerogel. I suspected we'd find things deeper, and this life pod was the deepest this vessel could go, so it felt like a good start. I found this wreckage on the way with a few laser cuttable doors.
This picture, battery charger fragment, that's big.
Now we could charge batteries. Another on the way wreckage had this moon pool bit, a reinforced dive suit recipe, another picture of this woman, a modification station piece, another modification station piece, and a power cell charger piece. Over the cliff was a new nasty biome.
You see that? That ain't normal. That's that alien tech.
Warning, maximum depth reached. Hull damage imminent.
And that's what happens if you go too low. I scanned this suspicious vent, learning that most creatures avoid the vent, but peepers go through them freely.
That is weird.
It sure is, I agree. Also, there were rubies down here.
Gel sack. Nice! Aerogel construction applications. Really? Aerogel. It's gel sacks and ruby. Give me the gel sacks, baby!
So, I went sack hunting. Several sacks later, another crevice nearby had LifePod 19 with more data to peruse. It pointed me back to the Degassi Island, which of course had brought me to stuff I'd already seen. But hey, we got rubies in the sacks now.
I can't unsee this. The LifePod icon looks like a little lizard head with the 2 little eyes and like this being a big mouth. Do you see this?
I went home and crafted as much aerogel as I could, perused my new BPs, and decided I wanted to make this prawn suit soon. I spent the day crafting and gathering resources for said suit, including a trip to the Enforcement Island for diamonds and lithium. And as the sun set on day 42, I crafted the prawn suit.
Welcome aboard, Captain.
You can keep talking to me. I adapted to this one a little better than the sea moth, oddly enough, quickly realizing it could harvest and store items without having to get out. The only trouble was that it couldn't float, and it had a limited jump jet for upward movement, shown in the bottom right. In other words, I could theoretically go too deep and not be able to get back out. I tested its harvesting arms out in shallow water, looking for lead to help me make this moon pool base piece, but didn't find it before calling the stream for the day. At the beginning of the next stream, I immediately found a mobile vehicle bay fragment 60 meters from the pod. I'm starting to think I might be bad at exploring. I found that piece of lead for the moon pool, and another mobile vehicle bay fragment 112 meters from the pod. I might be bad at exploring. I fumbled about with trying to place this new moon pool, rearranging some of the base, before popping on this vehicle bay finally. Ooh. Oh, so I can bring the vehicle here, right? And now, halfway through building the escape rocket, I finally got a vehicle bay. I suspect I might be playing this game out of order. I started gathering the resources for the next piece of the rocket and bringing them to the Neptune.
We just have to find 3 nickel ore now.
But I had no idea where to find it. It was surprising how quickly I found fragments I had once needed so badly now that I was zipping around in the moth. Lots of free titanium. Have I mentioned that? When you scan something you already know how to craft, you get 2 titanium instead. But despite all the exploring and re-exploring, I had no idea where nickel was.
Look at our frame. Look at us. We got spiky hair. I didn't know we had spiky hair.
I did find these among the re-exploring.
Cyclops fire suppression system. Vehicle upgrade console.
But no nickel. I decided to check out this proposed Degassi habitat again now that I had a safe supply of oxygen.
Don't, please. That's not even scary, that's offensive. These peepers be looking a little different.
There were lots of large nodes of different ores down here, and I'd begun to suspect the prawn suit would be the answer to these. But I had no idea how I'd get one back up and out of this biome if I dropped it down here.
Oxygen.
No, I didn't. No. I'm in a ship. Nuclear reactor fragment. Modification station fragment. Wait! Ow! No!
That was a big win, so home I went. I did learn the moon pool does charge the vessel, but I still needed to manually repair it. Fair enough. I immediately set to work on making that modification station along with a battery charger. And look, a mobile vehicle bay fragment. Oh look, another mobile vehicle bay fragment. Oh, how about that?
Oh my god!
And boom, a modification station. It gave us access to some sweet upgrade options along with the enhanced thermoblade. I went for the ultra high capacity tank as well as these ultra glide fins and started looking at the depth upgrade options for the moth.
Oh, but we have to make Mark II to make Mark III. Oh, it's linear. It is linear.
I polished off this battery charger and decided I wanted to make a power cell charger. So we needed rubies and magnetite. And the only magnetite I'd seen was in a large node. I decided to test if the prawn was indeed the answer. So no, not quite.
Do you need those fancy arms that we learned?
I wasn't sure, but I did see a lot of other cool upgrade options when I went looking. This new spicy knife wasn't doing it either, so I went back to the base to regroup. I pinned a bunch of things I wanted, but the long and short of it was magnetite, deep shrooms, nickel ore, and rubies. I only knew where to find one of those, but it was a start. Oh look, a mobile vehicle bay fragment. Literally 10 meters from base. I also vanquished my first stalker with the sizzle knife.
May I have your teeth, sir?
Surprisingly, I couldn't get the teeth this way, but thanks to a chat nudge, I learned this knife worked like fire aspect in Minecraft, and it cooks the fish it kills. That'll help in a pinch. On day 48, I plunged back into this awful pink place to see if I could find magnetite in small form. I found a nice chunk of diamonds through the search, but eventually, I found a small boy magnetite. I picked up as many as I could hold, and snagged this stasis rifle fragment on the way out. A little crafting later, we had the Sea Moth Depth Module Mark II. Our crush depth was now 500 meters. A big improvement. I went back to the trench, snagged some rubies, and had a grand old time.
I stalk. No, you stalk. No, you stalk, I said.
I stared at this vent, but it didn't give me any new answers. Then I found this.
Blood oil, red oil-filled pustule may be processed into benzene. Oh. All right, what's this? Uranite crystal?
This ecological biome, much is seven
am I
of
getting
the 9 preconditions
radio?
for
Wait.
stimulating terror and humans.
Stop, I'm trying to figure out if I'm getting radioid.
So that was a lot at once, but now I have these things.
Don't make these sounds while I'm looking at blood oil on Twisted Vine. Bloodroot. Saucy, my boy.
Just when I was getting comfortable, things got even more creepy.
Okay. You can refrain, sir. What the?
And as you can see, I handled it fearlessly.
Shut up.
Not the sounds, not the sounds. Pick them up, go. Pick them up, my inventory is full. Fuck.
It's so detestable, I'm not going to lie.
I dropped all my spare titanium so I could pick up these so I could hopefully not come back here for a long, long time. Thankfully, straight up was an option, despite it being pitch black.
We went home with all the new stuff.
Multiple Leviathan class life forms in the region. Are you certain whatever you're doing is worth it?
Ma'am, you can't just tell me that. Ma'am, you can't just say that. Ma'am.
I can't even pretend to be brave with this one. That's horrifying. And as day 50 dawned, I crafted this glorious Depth Module Mark III for the Seamoth. This brought our max depth in this vessel to 900 meters. That's deep. I polished off this power cell charger and started working on the vehicle upgrade console for the moon pool. I made my first hydrochloric acid and
We got the power.
I wasn't sure how to pronounce polyaniline. I wanted to make benzene as well, to make synthetic fibers to make the reinforced dive suit, which meant we had to go back and get more blood oil. Delightful. I did make this propulsion cannon finally, along with a beacon. I did some cooking. I saw and avoided this thing, and noticed another one of these vents in the floor. This guy did this, so I guess those teleport?
Prawn suit drill arm.
Now we're on to something. I found a second one.
Prawn suit drill arm enables the mining of large resource deposits.
I also found a couple of upgrades for that Cyclops I still couldn't make. Then a lot of things happened at once.
Whoa!
Warning, entering ecological dead zone.
He can fire teleport balls! Oh boy, just teleported me out of my ship! I don't know what I'm hearing, but I don't really like it. Oh my god! You can all go back to doing whatever you were doing. I'm going this way now.
Yeah, all things considered, I think that went great. I took a different path this time and found and gathered blood oil to the game's very intense music.
My everything is just, right now. You know? Everything is just,
Home. Let's go home. I crafted some benzene and read about the dead zone, which seemed to say in fancy words that there was a big circular volcanic crater that was the gameplay map, and that I should not leave it, because only Leviathan predators and microbes could survive out there. Aye aye, tablet lady. I made those synthetic fibers and fabricated the reinforced dive suit to replace the remaining radiation equipment. I also started working on water filtration, as if I kept slaughtering those bladderfish for 50 more days, the poor things might go extinct. With this thing, I would apparently get water and salt passively. I left it to do whatever it would do, and went on one last bladderfish poaching spree. Then it was back to the enforcement island, because the next alien place was reported to be in a cave system southwest of the enforcement platform, the Disease Research Facility, which dealt with
bacterium designated as Kara.
And that's how I pronounced Kara for the whole playthrough. To be honest, it still feels right, given aliens named it, so I'm going with it. Nearby exploration yielded this purple tablet, and I also kept hearing this roaring sound again. I checked out the portal-like structures that I hadn't been able to activate before, but still had no idea how to turn them on.
May have to return to this one.
And so southwest I went. On my first attempt, I couldn't get any deeper than 450 meters.
Erosion patterns on the land masses suspended here suggest they once floated on the surface.
I went upwards to find these buoyant islands, but again, it wasn't what I was looking for. So I just started from the enforcement platform again. I tested going straight down from the enforcement platform.
Why don't we instead go southwest?
That's a great idea, me. Go in the direction the game told you, not off into the literal abyss that it told you not to go. As you can see, I was having no trouble.
Stop injuring my...
I decided it was time to repair and weaponize the Moth.
Shut up.
That meant I had to finish off the vehicle upgrade console, so I went and got some copper. With that copper, I finished this console, which let us change the aesthetics of the ship. I made her red and gave her the name chat wanted the most, which for some reason was Fish Basket. The inbuilt fabricator has all the modular upgrades we knew for either the Seamoth or Prawn, but we could only have up to 4 active at once. I did a more thorough outcrop run this time to get everything I needed, and came back to make the torpedo system, the perimeter defense system, and the sonar. I could only have 4 though, and the depth module was crucial, so I swapped out the storage attachment, much to my pocket's dismay. And after some finicking, I figured out how some of it worked.
Whoa, this.
After making some vortex torpedoes, I loaded them into the bay for future testing, and was shocked by the light show that was our new water production.
Large filtered water?
These took up the same amount of space and refilled significantly more water. Delightful. I wanted to give the Seamoth some time to charge up, as the sonar scans kind of burn through battery life, so I did a little organizing. This has to be the nerdiest organization I've ever done, as I separated every mineral out and named the box by its relevant chemical formula. Titanium was Ti, copper was Cu, ruby was Al2O3 for aluminum oxide. You get the point. I'm a nerd. I went back out to explore with my newly upgraded moth lady, and I kept hearing this roaring again, but I figured it was ambience. I guess I was too focused to notice whatever this is. However, that focus did help me find this new place, a whole new biome according to the tablet lady, and it was nasty.
What exactly is that? We're already underwater. Where am I? That's a big thing.
By this point, I was 800 meters deep in Lord knows what, and I had to sneak carefully past whatever that is. I seized the moment quickly and scurried past, but on the other side of that terrifying experience, and a fair bit of swearing, I found this, a fallen alien structure. Except this time, it's 800 meters deep and full of water. The tablet lady informed me from preliminary scans that the aliens were trying to contain something in this structure, and failed. How reassuring. I'm definitely not peeing my pants. This purple tablet I'd brought helped us snag some more info, which basically said they failed to cure the disease despite many tests. But they had a key specimen contained in a volcanic region 1,400 meters deep. I scanned everything I could find and read everything I found. It was clear this place had been attacked by a leviathan, compromising it. And when that happened, the disease we're trying to cure had leaked out to the whole planet from here. And in the next room was one of those teleporty boys, but it was in pieces. According to scans, they built these things. Ugh.
Data pertaining to the bacterium is being downloaded. A self-scan is strongly advised. Bacterial infection has spread to the skin and pulmonary system. It is imperative you find a way to neutralize the infection.
I'm thinking I might have broken a cutscene by being in the car, and I'm kinda okay we didn't see that.
The clock's ticking and time is not on my side. That was all this place had to offer, despite my thorough searching. But as I went to leave...
I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why that just happened. That can't be good.
And then I got lost in the gooey awfulness. I did manage to find a different way out, but I had this sinking feeling that I would be back. I made it home, where I finally got a look at my hands, and indeed, the disease was progressing. Troubles. That Goo-land experience with the meat-eating friends had really done a number on me, and so the 4th stream ended. As the next stream started, chat demanded this prawn get renamed to Nerf This. I guess I didn't feel the same, because I hopped back in the Seamoth instead. I'd made some beacons, as I was hoping to track down where we'd been. This is also the moment I finally realized I'd been carrying around a fire extinguisher in my hotbar this whole time. On an ocean planet. You can't say I wasn't prepared. I did get a chance to live test my defenses.
Check it! Yeah! Kind of sorry, actually. Did that just, like, absorb you?
I found this weird looking fragment while in the area, but took so much damage I had to run away and repair. I went looking again the next day for that gooey place, and this time I succeeded. I decided not to test my luck, and placed a beacon at this higher up entrance, rather than one down in the green goo land. Chat named this one Good Plant, and I grabbed some deep shrooms before plunging back to the foul depths. I was really hoping to figure out where things like nickel ore, crystalline sulfur, and kyanite could be found, and this was my best lead. I followed the path I'd used to leave before, but wasn't having much luck. Probably because I was terrified the whole time.
It's about, I don't know if I'll like it. Who's screaming and why?
Dag nabbit. Darn. Gosh. Oh. Wow.
See, that wasn't on the docket. Activities. Not part of the plan. I'm gonna shoot you. I'm gonna shoot you. Stop.
It's a good thing I kept my cool. I placed a beacon for this place too, and tested this goo out to see what it would do.
Oh, dear God. Is something happening? I see greenness. It is losing hull integrity. I'm getting out.
Okay, not gonna do that again. Then the tablet lady had something to say.
Terrain scans indicate this biome contains unusually high concentrations of fossilized remains.
That's a really big rib cage.
It was kind of behind my head there, but I had a new friend to contend with, and he was toying with me.
Stop! That was kind of lackluster. But look, we all have performance issues sometimes, okay?
I kept exploring and found this room with a big skull with lights directed towards it, and all—
Ah! Whoa! What? Power? It has no power. Whoa!
Man, that scared me again while I was watching this back to script this video. The thing had literally disabled my ship, so I couldn't even pilot it. Immediately after, I found this.
What? Door! It actually is a door. You still chasing me? Well, that's a different kind of tablet. Hey, not you.
I found an escape from this biome nearby, and you'll be unsurprised to learn I took it. I managed to play cat and mouse with this electric thing long enough to scan these nuclear reactor parts and snag the recipe. But—
Stop! That doesn't work against it. I knew it wasn't gonna.
I decided it was time to go home, as I needed to change my pants. Amidst the changing, I crafted new beacons and noticed an issue. The base power was going down rapidly. Turns out solar panels don't make power at night. How about that? I decided to try out this new nuclear reactor in a new room I'd added for it, so I went to gather more uranite and titanium for it. And by the time I'd gathered all the titanium, I had officially squirreled, and decided to make a second moon pool, since I had 2 vehicles after all. Fortunately, I hadn't also forgotten about the reactor, and finished it first, and boy did it increase my maximum power by a lot. But I didn't have any reactor rods yet. That's where the uranite came in. So until I went and got that too, this was just a really fancy pole. I switched out the torpedo system for storage on the Seamoth, as the torpedoes weren't super useful in my hands. Once I had that sorted, I went to get more uranite, which makes this Geiger counter sound when it's picked up. And man, was that unsettling to repeatedly hear. Not to mention these sounds.
Quick with it, please. Speaking of that storage though. Ooh. Don't! Whatever it is, don't do it! Oh, they're fighting each other. Yeah, that's Gel's problem.
Such a peaceful experience. Then I stumbled into something. It was a breadcrumb trail of alien lights where I found this door.
Hello, honey.
That was a surprise, but I did find a room full of ion cubes. Apparently this was Sanctuary Beta, where the aliens supposedly uploaded their souls to escape from the planet. Sure, why not? Time to go home with some blood oil for the road.
We're just... I don't know what's happening. Oh my God. That thing was just chewing on us.
Definitely time to go home. I passed by another one of these vents on the way home and said,
another vent? Strange. Wonder if those are gonna end up mattering in a very particular way.
Back at home, I made a place to store all the extra uranium by the nuclear reactor, which I'm sure is super safe. I made my first reactor rod, which made the familiar sound. Then I activated it. Sounds safe. But the power was climbing fast despite it being night. I did another mineral run for lead for Moonpool 2 and future reactor rods, and found a Cyclops piece as well as a diamond. That diamond meant I could make this drill arm.
Oh.
Right. Well, I have that now.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have 2 moon pools. Ah, yeah. Ah, yeah. Yeah. Ah, yeah!
Progress, baby. I moved the console to the new pool, made more reactor rods to max out the reactor, moved the farms around to place another water-making thing, which was a disaster. I had inventory problems because of how big this food is. I wanted to harvest the food from the plot before deconstructing it, but the potatoes were like 4 or 5 per plant, and each took up 4 tiles, and each grow bed had 4 plants in it. So I literally just started throwing potatoes in random lockers. If you see a potato in a locker later on, just pretend you don't. Thanks. When those gooby booby activities were sorted, I realized something.
Recharges power cells in hot areas.
Oh. We have to go somewhere hot. Right. High volcanic activity. Right. I found out the drill works as a weapon, which to be fair makes sense. Oh look, a mobile vehicle bay frag. Back home, I finished the water filtration, threw down another grow bed for symmetry, and did something chat was aggressively hinting I needed to do. I tossed down this exterior grow bed, and the tablet lady was encouraging.
Farming alien plants is a proven survival strategy. Craig McGill survived 47 months on a healthy, raw salad of live tree roaches and stankroot.
Who knew our goal was such fine dining? I threw down another water boy on the only available wall in this room, this time without causing a potato disaster, before chat saw an opening. I'd listened about the grow beds, so they made another suggestion against my will, and now we had bigger, better lockers that I've apparently had access to for a long time. They also suggested the bioreactor, which made power from biomass, considering how many potatoes I had. Well played, chat. Well played. Amidst the callbacks, the perusing had highlighted this other thing, the scanner room, but I couldn't figure out how to place it. One whole day later, I figured out all I needed to do was rotate it, and was greeted by this strange sight. We had a big floating map, the capacity to fabricate unique upgrades, a place where I could choose what to scan for, and the ability to manually control mobile cameras. I of course immediately tested the range on these puppies, which seemed to be about 400 meters, and then I scanned for fragments. I needed this extra chip to see the scan results in my HUD, but I needed more magnetite to make it. I decided it was time to experiment with the real reason I made this drill arm. I took the risk and plunged our prawn down into the pink place. And lo and behold, we were drilling. Then I found a magnetite node to drill also. I must say, finally getting to drill things was very satisfying. Very quickly, we had lots of materials, and it was time to test our jumping. My first attempt was a big fail. I did start finding some intermediate shelves to land on, but again, it wasn't enough. And then onto this little... Ooh! And the third time wasn't the charm. I was officially sweating at this point, but a few tries later...
Come on, yeah, this little thing. Get on that, yes! Yeah!
And we were out. Nerf this lives another day. Back home, this scanner had been scanning for a while, and once I'd crafted the chip, I could see a lot of fragments nearby. After giving magnetite its own locker, I went on an absolute scanning spree, let me tell you, which was mostly...
What you got? Mobile vehicle bay fragment. What's this? Mobile vehicle bay fragment? Wow. What's this over here? Is this a mobile vehicle bay fragment? Wow. What's this? A mobile vehicle bay fragment? Shit.
But titanium is titanium, and we had so much now, I made one of the big lockers for it. This scanning was so OP that I decided to begin work on two primary tasks. I wanted to make the upgrades to increase the range of this one, and I wanted to make a new one, along with a small outpost in Goo Land. I scanned for limestone chunks for copper and got started once again. I took a break to check this radio message.
What you got for me? That's all we got, huh? That's it?
Let's just go back to mining, shall we? By the next day, I was able to max out the range, and scan for lead and sandstone chunks for future foundation building. I also made a bunch of storage modules for the prawn so I could really pick up a bunch of stuff. After a considerable amount of gathering, I consolidated the materials for a new base, including a nuclear reactor, reactor rod, scanner room, multi-purpose room, and reinforcements. I brought it all to the edge of the gooey zone, and with tangible struggle, I got down the first room and hatch, and from there, smacked down a reactor for power and a scanner room. I immediately saw crystalline sulfur as scannable, which was huge. I threw down some lockers and went to find crystalline sulfur for the first time.
Grab. God, ow! This is terrible. Scan it, despite the incredible lack of safety. Hey!
Calorie intake recommended.
Yeah, because I just shit all my carries out, didn't I?
You could say it was a stressful experience, but I managed to get 3 before pooping my pants, which was enough to make the prawn jump jet upgrade I so desperately needed. Then it was time to go home, now the main base, where I worked on materials for the Gooland moon pool and struggled to cut melons.
What's the line? How do I do it? I didn't even learn from that.
It was nice to have non-life-threatening problems for a change. There aren't any rotten potatoes in my lockers. I don't know what I'd forgotten the lithium for reinforcements, so I grabbed that along with the resources to make a fabricator, an interior grow bed, some seeds for that, and the stuff for a water purifier, so the base could be a self-sustaining hub for the foreseeable future. Don't worry, I definitely added reinforcements before adding the moon pool and didn't flood the base. I'd have to be a serious goober to do something like that. I'd also have to be a goober to forget the copper for the water filter thing, so I definitely didn't forget that either. The food plot and fabricator were a little more seamless. I snagged 1 extra sulfur crystal before checking the scanner, which, lo and behold, had identified nickel ore was nearby.
Yes, please. I've been looking for this for so long. Give Okay, fine. Scan it, but hustle. Yes! 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 This is massive. This is massive amounts of progress.
Massive indeed, massive indeed. Not only could we upgrade the prawn, we could make the next part of the Neptune too.
Emergency. Starvation imminent. Seek calorie intake immediately.
Oh my god. 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 Did you see the shadow of that Leviathan?
Alright, it wasn't a Leviathan, but still, that was close. At least my goals were clear.
We have to turn off the boom boom. We must remove the infection in order to be able to disable the enforcement platform.
Sanity might not be my strong suit, but I did make an interesting observation.
It is no longer rotten.
I immediately forgot this and never took advantage of it. Worse still, I'd also used up all my lithium on reinforcements and my gel sacks on the goo base, so I had yet more gathering to do. And don't forget the copper for the water filter down below. Well, I meant deep. Like in the water? Never mind.
Then make the upgrade for the thing, the big boy, the sizable child. You know what I'm talking about?
What I was trying to say was I was doing the lithium first so I could do the other gathering with the enhanced prawn. And after locking it in, we had a much more jumpy prawn. Before I left to get the gel sacks, chat made their intentions on that exterior grow bed clear. Yeah, I was never gonna try that. I decided to test the new wheels, legs, in a place we'd struggled before. And grab some resources whilst here, like lithium. I found a PDA I'd missed here on the way out, and got an achievement for following the Degassi. This one was about stalker teeth and such, stuff I already knew, but once all that was done, the prawn was able to jump out pretty well. It wasn't super easy, but it was much easier than before. I dropped off the goods, and went on a trip to get gel sacks. I planted half of what I brought back, and used the rest in accruing all the pieces for this Neptune booster. I decided to finish the water machine first.
Okay. Look, I'm exempt from all of your problems now, right? I'm now immune?
Somehow that worked. Water machine active. I saw these chunks near my new base, which would be so nice to blast with a prawn, but I wasn't sure if even the upgraded one would make it back from this depth. So instead, I zipped over to the Neptune, where I realized I had literally already made all the resources for this upgrade except the nickel ore. So I just had a spare of all of these things. Well, at least the boosters are done. Next was apparently the fuel reserve, which had kyanite and an ion power cell in its recipe, which I had no idea how to get. Again. But I at least already had the plasteel ingot I made. I definitely did that on purpose. I'm gonna say I did that on purpose. I decided to snag this mobile vehicle bay for making a new prawn suit for the goo base, and luckily I had the 2 aerogel for it somehow. Crazy coincidence. Achievement update, this is how it was going so far, and I did a brief base run around before ending the stream for that day. Next stream, I started off with the shock that I could now scan for gel sacks, only to realize those are the ones I just planted. Despite the disappointment, I did remember that my mission was a new prawn, and I went on a scanning spree to get the titanium for those expensive plastiles we needed. These stalkers had stolen my camera while I was out looking, so I served them justice. And with all these bits and bobs in hand, I went back to Goo Land to craft our second prawn. I also started to figure out what was going on with this Cyclops.
But I'll eventually get a recipe for this when I know all of these. I think that's what's going on there.
I also ran into this object, but there were so many dangers around it.
Yo, we don't like that. We don't like that. We don't like this. Okay. And are they just as gone as quick as they came? Oh god, it's a time capsule. I don't know what just happened. Okay. I received some items. Scanner's not supposed to be visible right now.
And suddenly I had 3 hands. Don't think about it too much. The time capsule came with a few items, but one of them was off.
Why has this one got way more charge? Ion battery. Man, take that out, put that in. What is this?
Special battery sounds like a special win to me. Their note was terribly reassuring.
Watch out for the things in the dark.
I tried, in vain, to use the mobile vehicle bay I'd brought, but it needed to float and be on the surface to work, so back up I went. I crafted her up at the surface above the terrible goo zone, before watching it plummet all the way down. Well, sort of. It actually only sunk whenever we were near it.
Ah, there you go.
I made the terrible journey between the 2 ships and brought this little lady to her new home. Then I zipped home to steal the upgrades from Nerf This, but I squirreled again. I wanted to try out this large room, so I went looking for titanium for those expensive plastiles we would need.
Don't eat me. I'm not tasty. Alright, well, was I tasty? Leave me a review on Yelp. How did it take me so long to get the mobile vehicle back?
I wish I knew, man. I did decide to toss that ion battery in the Sea Glide, and I made those ingots for
giant room, large room. Ooh, she's not small though. I'm just gonna put this down so we can see what it looks like.
And suddenly I had some decisions to make.
Pick up the large room and rotate it at 90 degrees. You can make it connect to the 2 moon pools. Y'all got me beat this time. This is a good room, and that's a good idea.
And now the large room became the project. I decided it was time to move literally everything into this room. No longer will we operate in some cramped tube. Instead, our goods would be spaced widely in this big boy room because I was now a big boy.
Ooh.
And the spacing in this space was just right. During the process, I took the chance to make a stasis rifle finally, and Tablet Lady tried to be inspiring.
Motivational note. Craig McGill crash-landed in the acid swamps of Boreal 9, fought off arachnid kidney poachers, and hijacked a tame Star War. If he can do all that, you can survive one more day.
Was that supposed to inspire me or something? It did so much for me, I appreciate it.
Motivational note. Craig Boreal was able to suck his own dick.
That was very motivating, as you can tell, because after what took basically 2 whole days of moving and reorganizing, I'd breathed some whole new life into this base. The hamster days were over. The organization system was actually very similar. I had just moved it all into the very big room. I did also add some quick drop-off box points for dumping my inventory or recent items I'd farmed for efficiency, and I removed some of the tubing I used to cower in. But that wasn't quite enough for me. I worked a little on spatial efficiency, like reattaching the scanner room to the big room, and condensing down the farm room. Chad also aggressively suggested the glass dome, which I placed a blueprint for now. I might have goobed it up at one point with the reinforcements, but I'll never tell. I ended up sandwiching the 2 moon pools between 2 large rooms, and broke down basically everything from the farm and water room. I moved it all into the second big boy room.
Then we can, wait, stop, wait, no.
That is not water coming in the base. I have no idea what you're talking. I didn't know what to do with a nuclear reactor though, because I couldn't retrieve the rods from the existing one.
All right, hear me out. So I don't know if it actually has to be connected. So like, there's just a reactor in there that just exists. And I believe it's still powering this base.
Captain.
And it is. If I just put a hatch here, we can see that this is working just fine. Do your thing.
And with that extremely cheesy way to reduce our base size, I present you the new base. Except the glass domes, I didn't have the teeth to enamel the glass. On that vein, I decided to give chat the leeway to tell me how to get more teeth since the dome idea had been something they really wanted to see. Apparently, I needed to let stalkers play with metal salvage, and they'd lose teeth in the process. Weird, but okay. Before long, I had what I needed, and this was the result.
This probably hits a lot harder at literally any other depth other than just below the surface of the water.
I don't know what I was talking about. I think it looks great. But I was just supposed to be grabbing the original bronze upgrades. Looks like I might have gotten distracted. I went ahead and did that and dropped into the madness.
This is not what safe feels like.
It sure isn't. Can confirm. The good news though is that this is the first time we were able to go into the goo without taking damage.
Well, this is rather unpleasant.
I was trying to rest my voice some on this day.
Can't scream. Today?
Yeah, that. So instead, I took out my fears by putting this drill in the face of anything that came near me.
Or something. Oh my god, I can scan for Ghost Leviathan?
Yeah, I guess that's what those are called. That was scary enough, and I needed some vocal rest, so I ended the stream early. Then life happened, and 2 months went by before I got back to this game. Fortunately, you won't have to wait at all.
Right. We made a second base down in the terrible place.
Yeah, you get the idea. Also, I have a couple quick things to explain. I was testing out having the chat appear on the stream, but I hadn't put it in a super readable place yet, so it'll show up sometimes in the bottom left. This will improve in future videos. Also, there's a scrolling message up top because I was getting asked the same question 10 times an hour, and I was tired of answering it. I'm gonna avoid intrusive things like this in future streams and videos. I am, as they say, still learning. With that said, let's just keep swimming. I did my best to reacquire my bearings, starting by leaving the scary place. Thankfully, I pinned the next piece of the Neptune's assembly, so I at least knew what some of my objectives were. I also combed through the databank for other valuable chunks of info. In the end, my best guess was as good as it was 2 months ago. Go deeper, maybe find this thermal power facility. I think I was also braver.
How do I do this? Oh shit. Got him, I think. I'm trying to scan it, but it has gone underwater. That missed somehow!
Well, I may not be a good shot yet, but at least I'm shooting my shot. I was looking for more Cyclops pieces, because I was too scared to go deeper, all the while hearing this roaring sound. And for the first time, I actually acknowledged it.
What was that little roar I just heard?
Then this thing swam right over the top of me, and I instinctively ran in fear. But, remember how I said I was braver?
I'm having really terrible ideas.
Spoiler alert, the bad ideas looked like this. At this point, I thought the thing was immune to my weapons.
It doesn't care. It just doesn't care.
But then, that second use of the defense system worked, and I started thinking,
oh, it didn't go far enough, right?
And yes, I began to intentionally let this thing try to eat me in order to scan it. Despite the literal practice I was getting, my aim had not improved. But I guess I scared it enough for it to do this. And like that, it was gone. Never mind, it had returned, and this time it was really difficult to get it to attack me. To be fair, I couldn't seem to hit it either. Eventually, I think it just gave up and decided to let me scan it. I decided to push it a little, but apparently this thing can't be stabbed. I supposed the scan was the victory, and checked to see what I had learned.
If you can hear it, the Reaper can see you. Assessment, extreme threat, avoid in all circumstances. Well, let's avoid it.
What an idea. I truly do not understand myself. Terrified of the depths, scared of everything else, aggressively brave towards the Reaper Leviathan. I think I might be a little weird. Then it was back to Cyclops fragment searching, and all was peaceful. That was probably more normal. As for getting caught between two of them while looking for the last piece of the Cyclops, not sure. I decided to look around anyway, despite the three things in the area telling us not to. Apparently the other side of the Aurora was Reaper Town, but all I need was specifically one type of Cyclops fragment now, the whole fragments. Despite my best efforts, I had to bail because I burned basically all of my energy. After the moth recharged, I checked onto the floating island, and eventually the tablet lady had something to say.
Detecting a titanium mass somewhere in this area, unable to confirm whether it originated on the Aurora.
But as I tried to find said mass, I ended up right back where I didn't want to be. Goo-land. And this time, our friend had a little bit more to say.
Oh God, where's my ship? Where's my ship? Where's my ship? Oh my God, I got it! Ghost Leviathan Juvenile!
I'm not sure if that was bravery or stupidity or sheer dumb luck, but a win is a win. I checked on this inaccessible room again, as well as this skeleton.
Fauna and flora. Don't be making those sounds while I'm inside of a skeleton! No!
I did manage to scan it before running away in terror once again. I also went back and got this scan. Both data entries essentially said the same thing. These dudes were being studied, and they were really, really old. And they only could have existed if the structure of this world was much different than it is now. I ran into this on the way out, which is probably what Tablet Lady was originally talking about. There was a lot here.
Alien containment. Cyclops shield generator. I got an achievement called Sea Monster's Orange Tablet. I left best above. One of you is about to sit still. Yeah, what's good? Tell me a little about yourself.
I somehow lived through that and...
No? Well, no.
The sounds in this game, man. I did some reading. Summary, the squid prey on glowing stuff, so I need to snuff the lights around these. And this place is where 2 of the 3 Degassi crew...
all live happily ever after.
Not exactly, but we can go with that.
Turn the light off. Oh, I turned it on! Shit!
Orange tablet time. There were a lot of specimen in here, along with some ion cubes, and this strangely cute looking egg.
We probably need this.
Oh, we definitely do, trust me. Other than that egg, this room was just more failed research from the aliens. But, speaking of eggs, that alien containment was a place to hatch eggs. Finally! I went back home with the new knowledge, and got a new radio call this late in the game from LifePod 2. But I couldn't be bothered apparently. I was much more interested in this alien containment, so I went looking for quartz to make glass for it. A little quartz later, I built it in the middle of one of those large rooms, only for Tablet Lady to say this.
Aquariums provide an ideal opportunity to study alien fauna up close. Select carefully which life forms you bring on board. They may also be studying you.
Ooh. Well then, I decided to do a test run with a different egg, other than the essential one, but I couldn't figure out how to deploy it. I did plant a few alien flora things though, but there was no special prompt for the egg, so I just dropped it out of my inventory while in there and hoped that would work. Another radio message came through.
Destroyed. New targets unaccounted for. 1.
That target? That's probably me. We need to get off this planet. I went to check LifePod 2, where I found a depth module for that thing I still don't have, and a PDA of 2 more poor souls that weren't around anymore. I scoured the area for wreckage, hoping those hull fragments might be around here. I finally found some wreckage after a whole day of searching went by, and in it, there was this prawn suit grappling arm fragment. Fascinating and promising. I found another one of the propulsion arms too, finishing that schematic. In total, I had to go through a whole 5 doors of this thing, but I also found a recipe that charges the tool being held by swimming and the finishing piece of the grappling arm. No hull fragments, but I had a feeling these grappling arms were gonna matter. I started exploring outside when...
Oh, God. Okay.
Calorie intake recommended.
Yeah, I felt good about that one. It may have been point blank, but I was quick with it. I got a notification that a spadefish egg had been discovered, and I suspected that meant the incubation had worked, and I just had to see that.
Hello. Okay.
Let's test that some more. I threw in a bunch of other eggs, and I actually hit the plants in the containment, and now we could grow more of these. One less thing to have to gather. I'd given Chad a little more leeway with hints, since it had been 2 months, as long as no plot or plot-related stuff was spoiled. But suggestions about things I should remember, like hitting plants with a knife for example, was fair game. I went looking for more fragments, and in another chunk of wreckage, I found some lore, and another hull fragment. We were now only 1 hull fragment away. I shot and scanned this thing on my explorations, and set my goo-based scanner to scan for fragments. And on the next day, I found this wide range of mushroom trees, but still no fraggy waggy, as they say. I did get to scan off on this live warper nearby, but didn't learn much. Then I found these.
Majestic creatures out there.
Majestic and loud.
The sea treader, a massive leviathan herbivore that may unearth mineral deposits as they churn up the sand. And I decided to check that.
Alien feces. Okay.
Poop and gold in the same place. What a combo. I wanted to hang out more with my new exceptionally chatty friends, but I was out of water, so I left them an aptly named beacon. It was day 95 and I was back at the main base again. But hey, why is there so much video left? Well, I went a little overtime on this journey. I blame those hull fragments, honestly. Surprisingly elusive little bastions of hope. Anyway, I played 128 days of Subnautica. Didn't quite feel like the ideal title, but if you made it this far, I'm guessing you'll enjoy the extra content. Let's find out, shall we? The feces ended up just being for the bioreactor, which is fair. Back to the seafaring boys I went, and at the very edge of the map, looky,
Is that what I need? Yes!
it was now possible to make the Cyclops. I spent the day cobbling together the materials from what I already had, and gathering what I didn't. And on day 96, I finally...
Boink! Built here must be constructed in deeper water.
On day 96...
Boink!
Be advised, the Cyclops
40-foot
is
sub
designed
for
to be
one.
operated by a 3-person crew.
Okay. Board Cyclops.
This is a multi-station, double-decker submarine. It had a station for 6 power cells, built-in storage, an upgrade portal, where I threw down this energy efficiency mod I'd found. It had a decoy launching station, and a place to dock a smaller vehicle. It had switches for internal and external lighting, a station for monitoring the health, and of course, the piloting station. When I tell you this thing had a learning curve, it could intentionally be run quietly. We had 3 external cameras to avoid collisions, a horn. Oh man. This thing also doesn't go the direction you look. It just has 6 directional keys, 2 of which turn the vessel left and right, and 4 of which move the vessel forward, backward, upward, and downward. And there were 3 variable speeds.
Ahead slow, ahead flanked, emergency speed, ahead standard.
Oh, this is a lot.
It really is. This was a huge step up in complexity from the prawn or sea moth, and I was feeling it. The basic upgrade modules could be crafted at this upgrade station on board, and I knew the depth module was going to be important, so I set on that immediately. 500 meters was not gonna cut it. I quickly crafted Mark 1 and went searching for the items we'd need for the better versions, like nickel and ruby. I ended up testing the Cyclops docking mechanism with the goo-based prawn, which was, needless to say, awesome. I could even access the storage and upgrades from this panel. I was also starting to get used to piloting this giant thing, including the camera angles. More fish had hatched, but they were like small variants. I threw in a few more non-essential eggs and made the upgrade to depth module 2 for the Cyclops. The third asked for kyanite, which I still didn't know where to get, so I stopped my upgrade roll there. I installed the Mark II for the Cyclops, which brought our maximum depth to 1,300 meters. Not half bad, but also terrifying. Yet, our future objectives, the deep and terrible places we would have to go, were all, well, deep. And that meant, sadly, the sea moth was gonna have to stay behind. The goal was to find the thermal power facility, and that was 300 meters deeper than the sea moth could ever go. For now, only the Cyclops could handle where we were headed, but the prawn still had room for upgrading too. I decided to make a few decoys for the Cyclops to use, but...
Oh, it makes 3 of them?
Guess we have enough of those for a while. I popped the rest in a locker right next to the bay. I threw down an interior grow bed for food and emergency water as well, and set off back for the green gooey county once again, to hopefully glean new answers.
I'm near the middle of the bottom keel. That makes sense. The screw, this is like the back of the bottom, and then the conning tower is like sort of towards the front of the top.
And those were the 3 places I could see from. One thing I was desperately missing, though, was the Seamoth's sonar. Worse still, I had never learned or scanned anything to do with the Cyclops sonar. The loss of sonar vision was a real problem.
Think I'm fine? Well, that didn't exactly sound fine.
I managed slowly to make it back to my goo base, but driving this thing blind was tough. I had to bail on my first attempt to get through Goo Land because having to navigate around a giant underwater tree was not helping. New plan. I went to get the Seamoth to recon the best route for the Cyclops. Cyclops? Then bring the Cyclops through it. Also, I was burning it with the power cells, so I needed to solve that too. I put some time into making more energy efficiency modules for the Cyclops, as well as a whole lot of power cells. I gathered some new minis and put the last of the eggs in this containment thing, except the special one.
Someone throbbing?
You can see why I was trying to wait. I headed back to the sub, only to realize I had left the engines on and the sub was now dead in the water. Right. Noted. Turn the engines off when not in use. I'd made 2 new engine efficiency models, but they didn't do anything after the first. Despite the description not saying anything about these not stacking, these indeed didn't stack. Ouch.
I might have just wasted some resources.
You might have, Goober. The extra power cells I'd made would at least help. It was here that the 7th stream ended, but now we had a submarine. A very hungry submarine. Let's get down to overtime. The next stream I wasn't nearly as lost, and immediately decided to make power cell chargers at our goo base. Back to the main base again to get resources. I'm honestly astonished how long I managed to put off going any deeper. In the process of getting supplies, everything went smoothly.
Okay. Okay.
No real problems to speak of.
Advanced wiring can't even see that.
Yeah, I didn't forget anything either. Not at all. I went back home, swapped out the recent batch of eggs, and incubated this special egg all by itself. I had to gather copper now for some strange reason, which of course also went without a hitch.
I forgot these were down here.
And then it was back to goo base once again. Boom. Power cell charges, baby. Time for some reconnaissance.
We went that way for the disease control facility, so I'm gonna go this way. The fog has changed colors in the bottom.
Warning. Maximum depth reached.
Welcome to the Blue Tree district of Gooland. This is apparently the Ghost Leviathan's hatching grounds. Lovely. So I needed to get the sub to here. That's a tall order. I skirted the top of the cavern with the moth, only to see just up ahead that the answer was to keep going down. What a surprise. The power cells were charged and it was game time. Right off the bat, this crab started harassing me, but in this big thing, I could ignore that. Things seemed to be going okay. Then this Ghost Leviathan got to harassing me, and the decoys didn't get it done.
Fire detected.
Okay, a fire? Seriously? We gotta keep moving. I don't understand why you're not going down.
External hull damage detected. Fire detected.
Okay, where? Oh my god.
Fire extinguished. Air scrubblers initiated.
So I'd solved the problem, but then I tried to move.
Fire detected.
I extinguished that second fire, but then I tried to move again.
I can't move.
I tried to push through the fire, but...
Stuck.
Hull integrity.
I'm still stuck.
So I decided to stop moving.
Warning. External hull damage detected.
Do I have to go out? External. Okay, I guess I have to go outside.
So outside I went. Despite all my preparation, a tree had nearly cost me everything.
I'm gonna try this again.
I took it a lot slower this time.
There we go. Don't catch, don't catch. It's a skill issue, I know.
It was, I think, indeed a skill issue, but these trees were menacing. But with the finesse and grace of a toddler, I managed to wriggle this thing past the trees and down into the lower lands of the goo zone. I was gonna need to make some improvements before I moved this sub any further. So I jumped in the prawn suit, but surprise, this one has no depth upgrades. It immediately started to crush. I managed to get it back into the Cyclops before its imminent demise, but now I had only one option if I didn't want to end up burning my sub to a crisp. I had to make upgrades, depth for the prawn, and fire suppression system for the Cyclops. Bad news, I can't make the former on the Cyclops, and I didn't have the supplies for the latter. The only real option was to break out the trusty Sea Glide and swim in Goo-land near a Leviathan with no resupply for oxygen. I skirted the walls like the absolute small fry I was in this place. I did manage the bravery to grab some of the supplies for the things we needed, and I made it all the way to Goo-land base without being eaten or drowning. I grabbed the rest of those supplies with the help of the moth.
I am just engaging in all kinds of evasive maneuvering right now. I don't know how much it's working, but I'm sure trying.
I got everything from here, except the titanium, which I had to go back to the main base for. I made the Prawn Depth Module Mark 1, Mark 2 required kyanite, so I figured I should be in good shape. I took the moth back to the goo base, and glided back to the sub. I swapped in the Depth Module for the Prawn, and I crafted and placed the fire suppression system for the Clops. I had a feeling the doors would have to be closed for this, so I shut every door in the vessel. Now, time for more reconnaissance. But my, was this a heck of a drop. I hopped back in and moved the sub a little further down so I'd actually be able to depart when the time came. The depth module only gave me 1,300 crush depth, so this was going to be close. And suddenly, the need for thermal power generation made
Activate the jump jets, my fair weather fellow.
Okay, me, let's not get that close again, eh? I drilled this copper impulsively because I'd had to look for copper so many times. Hopefully that would stave off the next inevitable copper run for a little longer. Anyone else kind of feel like this lava should be obsidian? Alright.
Oh god! Listen, I'm trying to not get intaken, ma'am.
I got a scan off on the horrible lava larva thing, only to learn it was eating my ship's power.
Stop.
I had a tasty local treat while I wished that I'd made that thermal power generation. 50 meters till ouchies, I found the promised land, or at least this drillable kyanite. This beautiful crystal will change the game for us, and this was enough. Time to run away, but manly. Tactical retreat. I wasn't terrified or anything. I was just being smart, right?
I'm gonna die. I'm not gonna die. I'm not dying here!
You know, I think that means I was right. Good thing I was safe now.
This is not fun! I'm getting in my little fancy-wancy boaty boat!
Sadly, I still had not had the presence of mind to build a modification station on this thing. I'd built a literal farm, but crafting stations? Not a chance. I think I might be a goober. Yeah, scratch that, I'm now certain of my gooberdom. I didn't really fix this either, because I'm about to make such a stupid series of mistakes. You'll notice I have a Cyclops Depth Module Mark II pinned, because for some reason, I was thinking I only had Mark I made, even though I've been operating with Mark II for Cyclops like this whole time. I went back to the surface, dropped off kyanite for the Neptune, and headed home, smashing through the seeds from way back when.
Wait about more. Ma'am! Oh, is this all the seeds?
Then I made another realization.
We need 25 titanium and 6 lithium. And the prawn depth module that's in the prawn that's back with the prawn!
I didn't have the previous prawn depth module to upgrade. Back to Goo Town. I farmed out everything for Mark II and 3 of the Cyclops module, and Mark III for the prawn. All the while fighting against this little guy with my drill. And I somehow stumbled into this place.
What in the nightmare pudding is this?
It was dry land underwater. It had another portal that I couldn't use, and I suspected somehow I'd have to use this later. So I got back to business. Soon, all that was left for the Neptune's reserves was the ion cells. Then I was back at base, working on crafting, but then I noticed the other of my big errors. Cyclops Depth Module Mark II also needs Cyclops Depth Module Mark I.
That hurts my feelings a little bit, I'm not going to lie, because I've made this trip several times.
Yeah, it still hurts right now. I did manage to make some reactor rods for the goo base, as they had officially run out of power, but I'd missed the ability to make the prawn depth module by 1 lithium, and the Cyclops, well, you know. I swapped out the reactor rods at goo base, threw in scan upgrades I brought from the main base, scanned for lithium, grabbed some, placed a beacon for the mystery portal, found nickel to drill, quartz to drill, and swam back to the Clops. I lifted the sub so it was above 900 meters and proceeded to retrieve the depth module. This is when I realized I'd already done depth Mark II for the sub and only needed depth 3. Worse still, this meant I would need to be above 500 meters, not 900 to remove this. This was about the moment my brain turned back on. My plan, rather than the awful idea of getting the Cyclops back up to the top, was to make a new Mark I depth module so I could switch them out without turning my sub into scrap metal. Back to Goo Base, where I had a fabricator to make the plasteel ingot, then back to the Clops, where I made made the Mark 1, took the Mark 2 out, went back to Goo Base, swapped vessels, went back to main base, and finally made the depth modules I'd meant to make 4 days ago. Hoo-wee. I grabbed the stuff for a fabricator on board the sub and headed back one more time. Back at Goo once again, I placed the final prawn depth upgrade, giving us a crush depth of 1,700 meters, and I quietly hoped we never had to go that deep. Then it was back to the Cyclops once again, finally prepared to make amends for the absolute buffoonery that I had caused over the last 8 days. And like magic, the crush depth of the Cyclops was now also 1,700 meters. I also threw the fabricator down, along with the battery charger. With the batteries charging and everything in place, it was time to dive. Hopefully I didn't forget anything really important that might cause any huge problems once I'm down there. I didn't have sonar still, so navigating was very, very tough. But then I got to the terrible thermal place again. Charge 59%. I went to town on these stupid power leeches, and had yet still lost 10% more power while slicing them off. Then...
Wait a minute now. Wait a minute. Okay, it's time to leave.
But I tried to leave too fast.
Warning, engine overhead standard.
Okay, go standard then.
Fire detected.
Fire suppression system, I made this.
Fire neutralization system active.
Of course it is. Okay, why do I hear scary music? What the fuck?
Fire extinguished.
I don't understand how to escape. And I was losing power fast. And I kept hearing this. No. I kept smacking into stuff and panicking a lot.
Yeah. I really don't have it.
But, despite the dark, my sense of direction saved me, and I was somehow able to flee the terrible place.
I kinda thought I was gonna die.
To be honest, I'm still not sure how I didn't. I slapped all the eels out of existence and contemplated the situation.
So there's large squid dragons that literally breathe fire bombs, and leeches that take away our powers, so we're gonna need the thermal converter, and the sonar because we also cannot see at all.
Yup, that about sums it up. We cannot go back there without thermal power. I pulled the sub up a little further this time, but took the prawn the rest of the way back.
Breathing fire underwater with tentacles.
I still hadn't recovered, as you can see. I went back to the main base, crafted up the components for the thermal thing, and headed back once again. Back in the sub, I made it and swapped out the dead power cells. But still lacking vision, I decided against going back down just yet, because I was terrified. I started charging those cells back at Goo Base and described today's stream like this.
Nope, dude, you can't do that yet. Nope, can't do that. Nope, can't do that.
The final stream began and I had a plan.
We go deep in Osh.
Okay, but seriously, I had a new plan. I wanted to combine these two things and go down in the prawn rather than the sub, because driving a submarine blind just wasn't the move. Back to the main base I went and got crafting. I had all the items, even the deep shrooms I'd been growing, where the special egg had hatched this guy. A scan yielded that this one was sentient. Weird. Once I'd crafted these game changers, I went back to Goo Base to finally get this party started. I tacked on the upgrades and learned that the sentience meant that I had a pet cuttlefish.
Man's best friend? Okay, play with fish. Oh! What? Oh.
Terribly cute, but I had to tell it to stop following me for now, as I was hoping to have it not get eaten by a squid dragon.
You hang out with the sea moth, okay? The sea moth is your friend.
It was time to get down to business. I tested the grapple out.
I can recover my jump jets while grappled. Like, can I hit this? Ooh! It's OP!
This tool was very skill-based, but that just meant it was time to activate the gamer instincts. I got back to the sub.
I didn't bring the spare power cells. I am a fool.
That was fine. Extra practice time for those gamer skills. I swapped the positions of the arms and got to practicing.
Can I use it on the floor? That ain't bad. Ooh, it's not bad. It's not bad on the floor at all. I like it on the floor.
Now that I had a few tricks up my sleeve and no more items that I could possibly forget, it was time to finally get answers. I brought the sub to the edge of where the hotness starts, grabbed a couple power cells just in case, and dropped in. This time in my Spider-Man mech. I mean, look at this movement.
Yes.
I put this beacon down so I could find my way out a little easier, but I could see way better this time. And I could hear better too. I managed to locate a little alien door early on in the exploration this time, and upon stepping in, I got this achievement. But man, was this place terrifying. But I found this. But you know what I couldn't find? The entrance. I was getting chased by warpers and dodging falling into lava while trying to find some kind of opening. I even tried to enter from below, but was genuinely clueless. The environment wasn't exactly giving me time to think, but after half a day's worth of effort...
Oh, God, how did I miss that?
Honestly, I don't know how I missed it. It was sitting there the whole time. Just inside the door was a drillable batch of ion cubes and this portal I was able to engage. I decided against going through just yet as there was more here to explore. And just around the corner...
Oh, this is gonna require a tablet. A purple one! God, I'm so smart! This is why I've been bringing this with me this whole game! Because I knew there was gonna be a moment I was gonna get overextended, I was gonna get too far, and I was gonna need...
Listen, I was so proud of myself here. Now we had this blue tablet, and with that...
No! No! Wait! Stop!
Here. To me.
I'm not proud of myself anymore. Maybe I should have. Maybe not. I'm not proud anymore.
Well, that was short-lived.
Is this a different entrance? Have there literally been multiple entrances that I have missed?
There were indeed 2 entrances. The pride was now all but gone. More info and this. I needed another purple tablet, and I had only brought 1 this time. Pride cometh before a fall, eh? More like 3 falls back to back. I dropped a beacon off at this entrance so I could find it again, and hop through this portal.
My depth is 91 meters. Am I at the enforcement platform?
It was indeed. Thanks, game. Let's grab a tablet real quick. I'd actually packed my remaining tablet in the Cyclops, so I had to make new ones. I decided to make 2 of each of the 3 types I knew about, just to be sure. Back through the portal, I put down a purple tablet to open this room up, and...
Well, this looks like it's on.
It does look on. You know, I think that might be the giant green bolts of God knows what. I grabbed these 2 data downloads. One told us where to go, and one gave us recipes for the ion battery and ion power cell. But that first one, we have to go deeper. The primary containment facility is 1,400 meters deep. And that means we have to go back to our friend the Squid Dragon's domain. I've been keeping my food up by cooking the local fauna with my knife, and the power of the prawn was charging thanks to the hotness. I was beginning to feel some semblance of confidence again, and I began to follow the direction of this tablet lady once again. Southeast. In this cave system. I found a pretty substantial drop-off point, and all that confidence I mentioned dropped off as I attempted to glide over even more lava.
You're not really doing this to me right now. Oh, Jesus.
I am what you seek. Want to help you.
Are you sure? Because I was hoping to be feeling good, and with you sitting there, I feel bad. So I don't think I am seeking you, actually. My therapist told me to seek joy, and you don't look like joy.
That skill practice had paid off, baby, and my geothermally active destination was before me.
There's a front door.
At least they made it easier to find this time. The presence of mind to craft the blue tablet had paid off too, and I exchanged one of our reserves to gain entry.
Translating local alien broadcast. Warning, vaccine development program terminated.
Well, that was a lot. Guess their plans didn't quite work out. This data terminal explained they'd been working on something called Enzyme 42, and they had some specimen they were trying to get to produce it, but it failed. Apparently, another Leviathan species had been the focus of this work, the Sea Emperor. They needed a healthy young one, but had failed to keep any fetus or juvenile alive.
We need to actually hatch a Sea Emperor, it looks like. That sounds a bit above our pay grade.
Above our pay grade is an understatement. These aliens couldn't figure out how to do it, and they had far outdeveloped humanity. Worse still, a few of the objects here established that these aliens had been to Earth a few times in our early history, and likely influenced our development as a whole. How was I, a lowly human, gonna succeed where these dudes had failed? I also found the center of all the vents we've been finding, and their job was to draw in oxygenated water for the ecosystem they'd developed for the captured specimen, which I suspected had to be a Sea Emperor. The pieces were clicking together. Apparently, these peepers in the vents could and were carrying Enzyme 42 back through the outflow vents, but there were other problems. I'd also been opening these portals, of which there were 4 in the 6 offshoots of this room. There was also this door.
Yep, that's why I made another blue tablet!
Pride is a fickle thing, isn't it? Before checking that, there was one other room full of eggs, some of which I actually recognized, but none were the Sea Emperor egg we would need. A lot of these scans were really cool. I can't fit them all in this video, but the lore building was superb. But after checking everything, only this doorway was left. And before me was more water. This ocean don't quit. It really don't. But this was no ocean. A Sea Emperor!
Are you here to play? Others came here once. They built these walls. They played alone. They bored me. Now they're gone. And instead, we have you. We are curious whether you swim with the current or fight against it as they did.
Welcome to the Sea Emperor's containment.
Detecting unusually passive behavioral patterns in nearby predators.
I couldn't scan anything, and I genuinely tried to swim in the glowy stuff because I thought it was the enzyme. And while this actually did make some sense, considering in her digestive tract was where the enzyme was being manufactured, it did absolutely nothing. Then I grabbed a peeper that also had the enzyme 42 trail thing going on, and ate it. But again, nothing. I found this portal, which I unlocked, but I wanted to really get a grasp on the situation to make sure I didn't do it wrong. Then I learned the answer was more literal than I thought. Sea Emperor eggs. Alien devices penetrate the outer shell layer, likely... I read a few more things while Big Mama patiently waited for me, where I realized all non-egg versions of this enzyme simply weren't bioavailable enough to get the job done to cure the disease. It could only abate the symptoms. This incubator structure accepted an ion cube. Talk to me.
My young need to hatch, to play outside this place.
Okay.
We have been here so long. The others built a passage to reach the world outside. I asked them for this freedom, but they could not hear me. If you help us, I will give you freely what the others tried in vain to take.
Deal. You got a deal, Big Mama. I proceeded to press this button, but I didn't have the hatching enzymes I needed. Then... Oh! Okay, that works. I scanned this first. It is much too small for the Emperor to pass through, but would accommodate smaller life forms. You're a good mom.
With the passage you have opened, my young can leave this place.
Yes.
But first they must feel the time is right and break free of their shells.
Yes.
This is what the others could not force from me. To you, I give the secret willingly.
Okay. Did you just blast it into my brain? I needed to get these 5 plant samples. We also received this lore mic drop, which is that nothing is alive past a certain distance from this Emperor because they never got the enzyme. She alone is the entire reason this planet isn't devoid of life entirely. It suddenly didn't seem like a coincidence that there were 5 portals and 5 plant samples we needed. One led to the mushroom forest where I got the fungal sample. Some of those random outposts that I found that I couldn't turn the portals on and I didn't know why. These are those portals that could not be activated from the exit side. Yup. And from each of these other portals in the room before the containment, I received another piece of the hatching enzymes puzzle. All that was left was the crown piece. But the portal she'd blown the sand off of just brought us to the enforcement platform. Gotta say, I am really glad I still had a drill on that thing. I checked the half-sized portal, but this was just a way to get out of the containment. Fortunately, I had one last theory, and so I searched the containment itself. Lo and behold, the sea crown. And now, I had to make the trip home one more time, because I needed a fabricator to actually combine these samples into the hatching enzymes she and I both needed. I crafted the ion power cells I needed for the Neptune while I was here, and I went to the Neptune to finish off the fuel reserve. All that was left was the cockpit, which needed these things. Of course it needed a thing from the Cyclops. That meant I'd have to get back to the Cyclops to actually craft it. Go figure. I returned to Big Mama with the hatching enzyme she needed, and suddenly, the babies were born. I presume this is...
My young are swimming for the shallows. I thank you. Their freedom is my end. What will it be like, I wonder, to go to sleep and never wake up? Perhaps next we meet, I will be an ocean current, carrying seeds to a new land, or a creature so small it sees the gaps between the grains of sand. Farewell, friend.
No. I'll take them to the shallows. And you asked me a question of what it will be like to go to sleep and never wake up. What was it like when you woke up before ever having gone to sleep? See you soon. I don't want to ruin the sanctity of the moment, but like, do I need to get... Ah, thank you. No, don't rub it off. Leave that on. I regret wearing gloves in this moment. And with that, I left her to her triumphant end. I scanned the juveniles. The specimen is healthy and exhibiting signs of a positive attitude to life.
Self-scan complete. Vital signs normal. No remaining sign of bacterial infection.
All systems nominal, but the feelers are feeling sad, Captain. Turn this off for me, would you? And on the night of day 126, I went to retrieve our submarine to craft one last thing. And on day 127, I somehow masterfully piloted the sub without hitting any trees. If only I'd had this skill earlier. Even the cuttlefish made it home. Oh, high five. Low one. That was a low one, baby. As the sun rose on day 128, I brought the Cyclops over to the Neptune and crafted the cockpit. But before I could leave, I had a couple things left to do. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm gonna miss that little guy. The rocket, strangely, came with storage. But then I remembered that debt we owed Alterra. I zipped to the main base, grabbed as much gold and diamonds as I could hold, and threw it all in the storage of the rocket. We were given the honor to make a time capsule, and this is what I left behind, with the ion battery I was given in the scanner. And then naught was left but to leave. I say yes.
10, 9, 8, 7,
Birds?
6,
No.
5,
Not quite.
4, 3, 2, 1. Caution. Approaching orbital debris field.
Okay. I have a repair tool downstairs.
Orbital debris field clear.
Yoda,
Engaging ion boosters in 3,
That
2,
sounds great, yeah.
1.
What is a wave without the ocean? A beginning without an end. They are different, but they go together. Now you go among the stars, and I fall among the sand. We are different, but we go together.
And that is 128 days of... oh, wait?
Welcome
Thank you.
home to Alterra. Permission to land will be granted once you have settled your outstanding balance of 1 trillion credits.
Don't stress. I brought some cash. What better outro is there than that? A great game. I'll be playing the sequel, Subnautica Below Zero, soon over on Twitch. But till then, watch me slay magical beasts and find love, all while being a dedicated farmer in 100 days of Stardew Valley.